Mississippi Ag. Visit agov.com to find a retail location near you.
Let's go.
Swoochy Boochie, good morning to you.
Yeah. What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Out of bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Want to welcome in the law firm Funderburg, Sessoms, and Peterson, FSP Law Firm. If you are injured in a car or truck accident or on the job, FSPLawFirm.com. Steve Funderburg, Craig Sessoms, Dave Peterson with FSP Law Firm. If you're injured in a car or truck accident or on the job, FSPLawFirm.com, located in Jackson, Mississippi. Over 85 years of experience. We are live in the Bank Plus studio. 105.9 The Zone, WRKS, ESPN. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app, and we're up and running on YouTube. YouTube Live, search Out of Bounds Sports. We'll have Parrish Alford, Ole Miss Insider. Ole Miss discussion with Parrish Alford on Facebook. Parrish will join us in exactly 4 minutes and 9 seconds. I'm kidding. I just made that up. It's somewhere around 7:35.
Just trying to find some recruits.
The Lane train is getting it kicked off in Oxford, Mississippi. And who will it be against the Florida Gators? Matt Corral? Or none other than Hattiesburg's own John Rhys Plumlee, Blake?
It's going to be Matt Corral.
Okay.
But John Rhys will take snaps.
And eventually take over.
We'll see.
You know, I'm thinking about becoming a Saints fan. Just to
Why?
Just to bother you.
You have that Saints hat on.
I do.
Right now. It looks like you bought it at a gas station.
And it's the Florida Lee
That's right.
on the screen. But if you're watching the show right now on YouTube Live, search Out of Bounds Sports.
That's correct.
You can see a really, really cool image of the Florida Lee, right?
I mean, it's all right.
Are you
for
gonna?
the,
What
for
if
the Florida Lee? It's cool, I guess.
you need a tattoo?
A Saints tattoo?
Yeah,
No chance.
just
No chance.
it just says "Who Dat" on your shoulder.
Who dat? No, thank you.
Who
I'm
dat?
all right.
Who Dat?
I appreciate that, though.
Man, oh man. All right.
Good.
So
Why would you be a Saints fan? I mean, other than to bother me. Why?
that's why I would do it.
Okay, that's the only satisfaction you would get out of being a Saints fan. It certainly wouldn't be from their play on the field.
You're saying that as a Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys haven't been to the NFC Championship game since 1995.
We haven't had Sean Payton, so
Yeah, that's true. And you know, I think also your bitterness comes from the fact that the Saints hired Sean Payton from the Cowboys, and
we hired Jason Garrett.
yes,
Yeah,
for 10
no, yeah.
years.
Thank you.
I mean, that's just
appreciate that.
I still can't believe Jerry Jones wasted 10 of the last years of his life.
I can't believe the Saints wasted arguably one of the greatest generational offensive minds in coaching in Sean Payton and only got one Super Bowl.
Huh.
Wake up with that every day, Saints fans.
Should we give CWR something like a prize?
What did he do?
Well, he's watching the show on YouTube
Oh, nice.
because he just referenced the Four Roses bottles that we have in the center of the
Nice.
set/studio.
Somebody posted a picture on Twitter yesterday. They were watching it on their TV at their house.
Clay Edwards.
Clay, nice. Shout out, Clay.
Shout out to Clay, who was watching his friend Abe Morris walk us through his bacon-wrapped
Tasty.
bacon-wrapped stuffed chicken.
By the way, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I am. Maybe I'm Milwaukee Brewers, among other teams. But bacon-wrapped stuffed chicken with mushrooms and spinach and cream cheese, among other things.
And cheddar cheese.
And cheddar
Ooh.
cheese. Okay.
Ooh.
Cheddar cheese. Yeah. So we had some of that in the third hour of the show. That was a lot of fun. Heavy y'all lifestyle and just all kinds of. Well, you know, I didn't get to talk about National Whiskey Sour Day as much as we wanted because the show kind of took off and was flying by, and then pretty much the third hour was food and grilling and Abe cooking for us. But anyway, We had an absolute blast with Abe. We're going to go to the now. This is kind of interesting. Our guest line is sponsored by Parish Brewing. Now, our next guest does not own it, but I do recommend trying Parrish Cane Break. It's a wheat ale. It is absolutely delicious. We have it in studio on tap. If you want to come by and have one, I mean, if you're over 21, feel free in the studio. But we want to welcome in Ole Miss Insider, Ole Miss discussion with Parrish Alford, djournal.com, on the Parrish Brewing guest line. Parrish, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Got to hit this first. It's National Dog Day. Does that do anything for you?
I lost you for a second. It's what day?
It's National Dog Day.
Dog Day. Oh, man. I haven't been, like a dog owner throughout my life, but we had a beagle for 10 years, and I miss him every day. He's buried in the backyard now.
Beagles are great dogs. My neighbor had one up until a couple of months ago, and he would always pop up down at my house because, they kind of wander, and they're sniffers and so on. And super dogs, he was kind of my – anytime I was grilling Parrish, all of a sudden I would look around and he was there because, he could smell the food.
Well, best dog ever. Like I said, I call his name when I mow around him.
Parrish Alford on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Parrish, what did you make of Kiffin's comments coming out of the weekend on the first scrimmage on Matt Corral played well and was accurate, and John Rhys Plumlee was a little up and down and had a turnover?
Well, number one, you're right. What do you make of his comments? You have to listen to the comments. The most important thing during the month of camp is the most important words are he said, because there are no independent observations anymore. But so you listen to the comments and you peel back the layers. And what I took away from that was exactly what you said, accuracy, because if Matt Corral wins the job, it's going to be because of accuracy. It's going to be because he involves the receivers better. I think that'll be the turning point. Plumlee, for all he did last year, an explosive playmaker and runner and a big play guy, and he's going to get his touches and impact this offense no matter what happens. He only threw 52%, and you've got to complete passes at a higher rate to get the receivers involved. And Ole Miss has talent at receiver that really did not show beyond Elijah Moore last year, I think because of just because of the style they were running. Those running backs showed out. But, I think accuracy is going to be the thing, and that's what I took away from it when he said that Corral was more accurate. We'll just see if that trajectory continues.
We were talking about this, Parrish Alford, Ole Miss discussion with Parrish Alford on Facebook, djournal.com. We were discussing this maybe yesterday or the day before, and that is with the pandemic, and it's Lane Kiffin's first year. He's playing with house and the modified schedule. He's playing with house money, and if he wants to play Matt Corral and John Rhys Plumlee a lot, I don't think there's going to be blowback just to kind of see exactly what he has. How do you see it, Parrish?
I would agree with that, but I don't think that you're going to see a two-quarterback system. I just think, and it's all just speculation right now, but I think that if Matt Corral wins the job and is your every down quarterback, that I think for John Rhys Plumlee it's going to become like number of plays, number of touches from a variety of positions. Maybe a slot receiver, maybe lining up behind a quarterback in the backfield, and all of a sudden there's a tall sweep, and plays at quarterback, wildcat plays. I mean, take the snap, read the defense, and go. I mean, I just think if Matt Corral wins the job, you're going to see Plumlee in a lot of different ways.
All right. I'm still going with Plumlee. I think Corral gets it, and then Plumlee eventually takes it. But I can't wait to see what shakes. I think whoever plays against Florida is going to have their hands full, Parrish, because that Florida defense is loaded.
They're very good, and they're fast.
Yeah,
a lot of speed.
That they got some dudes, so it's going to be a challenge for Corral or Plumlee. All right, we know Elijah Moore is really good and very talented. Who do you think will emerge as the number 2 guy? Dennis Jackson, Mingo, Sanders, someone else?
Well, I think Mingo emerges. I just think, I still think there's physicality and intensity. I think there are things you didn't see last year. I mean, it was really, I know that they were running a run-oriented offense. They ran the ball 62% of the time. That's a lot. But these receivers just really didn't impress last year beyond Elijah Moore, and I think that's because, one, they were young, okay? But more important than being young, if you're running the ball 62% of the time, then that's what you're practicing in practice.
Right.
That's what you're getting. You're making sure you have your plays down every week. You're not repping the passing game much in practice. So you've got young receivers with talent, but young guys who need those reps, and they're not getting them, any of them.
That's a great point.
So you look at Moore, and he had like 65 catches. The second receiver, and he had some tight ends and backs in there that had catches, but the number 2 receiver had like 12 catches. That might have been Dontario Drummond. And, and then everybody was kind of jumbled up after that. But you go from like 65 to 12. I think most of that was because you just weren't repping the passing game in practice.
No, I agree with you. That's why I still have an enormous amount of confidence in Plumlee. Because if you look at it, everything was going against him, being a good passer last year. Like you said, You're not repping that all. You're not even repping that in the game. And so, he did what Rich Rod, and I don't blame Rich Rod, by the way. He did everything. Look, they could have beat Auburn. They could have beat Cal. They could have beat Mississippi State. They could have beat, there was one other team we were talking, Memphis. I mean, there were wins out there for even a very young team that was kind of doing the quarterback shuffle because of injuries. And so, and I just think Plumlee ran out there with a bunch of inexperienced but talented guys on offense, and everybody's going to be so much better this year, from Ely and Snoop to Dennis and Mingo. I know you already know this. I mean, they're returning 78+% of their offensive production, Parrish. So, I mean, to me, that's a good thing for Kiffin and Levy, and I expect that unit, if they're going to get some wins, that unit has to drive the train early.
Right. If you're not repping the passing game, obviously that affects the quarterback too. I do think that this competition is going to be about accuracy. It's going to be about making reads and getting the ball into the hands of the receivers. If Plumlee can do those things and gets his percentage up to 60, this isn't even a discussion. If he can involve the receivers, stand in the pocket, make reads, and move the ball that way in what is going to be a much more diverse offense, if he's equal in the passing game, well, he's far superior in the ground game. Just a tremendous playmaker. So if he can become that passer, I think he just kind of blows away the field. But he's got to make that kind of improvement.
Right. And here's where I also think he blows the others away in the competition, Parrish, and that's intangibles and leadership. And to me, that is what is going to be at some point. That will be the difference, because I just think that is just as big a piece of the puzzle as accuracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bo Wallace's toughness, grit, intangibles, I don't think people really understood how good he was, and how much he had on his shoulders. It was the same thing for Dak during that time. I mean, they had to carry so much, especially in the second half against SEC opponents for Ole Miss or MSU to win games. To me, advantage Plumlee by several miles, and that will be the kicker at some point. Maybe not against Florida, but at some point. All right, so let's see. We got a few more minutes. Parrish has to jump off at 7:50. Parrish Alford does a great job keeping us up to date on Ole Miss discussion with Parrish Alford. DJournal.com, Ole Miss Insider. Ole Miss will host. How cool is it, Parrish, that Dan Mullen for the second time in 3 years, will be coming back to the state of Mississippi just with his presence, tenure, and history in the state. I think that makes game one that much more delicious.
Well, there was such a rumor out there that game one was going to be the Egg Bowl. So if you can't have the Egg Bowl in game one, I guess this is a consolation prize. You have an Egg Bowl coach coming back and playing. So here's the question, Bo. I mean, you remember the 2012 comment there when State lost in Oxford and Mullen wasn't going to sleep for a year. If Florida loses, I mean, he's not going to sleep for like 10 years. It's because they won't come up on the schedule again for a long time. So.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true. If they do lose, and I'm not taking anything away from Ole Miss, but if Blake, is it 10.5?
10.5,
okay.
10, depending
All
on
right, so the spread's 10.5. If they do lose, I'm not sure that Dan wants to get back on the plane to fly back to Gainesville. Blake, do you have a question for Parrish Alford?
Yeah, Parrish, you mentioned obviously you run the ball 62% of the time. You're probably practicing run. Ole Miss only averaged, I think, 190 passing yards a game last year. 2 years ago, Longo 350. Obviously, we know what Rhys was doing before that. Longo's passing game, maybe to his detriment at times, was based on like vertical, deep down the sideline passing for the most part. They kind of ignored Dawson Knox in the middle. We know a Mike Leach offense is all about these like middle space routes. What is Kiffin's, just kind of in a base understandable language, what is Kiffin doing with this talented group of receivers that will make them more productive next or this year that might be either the same as what Longo's doing, different? Kind of explain that for us who, trying to see what that offense might look like.
Well, I'm not we're not able to see right now, so I have no idea what he's doing with this team, and I think he's going to be diverse. I think he's been different in different places. I think he's going to really play to the talent that he has. That's why I think you're going to see, Mingo elevate his game, and there are others. There are so many candidates. I think, we were mentioning names of receivers earlier. Today you've got speed in a guy like Miles Battle. DeMarcus Gregory is one who comes to mind. We're just listening right now to players as they mention other players. So you try to listen to the name dropping and think, okay, who's doing well in camp? And and his name has come up. And I'll tell you, DeMarcus Gregory is a guy that I have seen only in practice a little bit, which like I wouldn't see him now. But I'd seen him a little bit before, some spring. And I thought, man, this guy's physical, and he fights for the ball. I think he is a wild card in this group of receivers, and he's had injury problems as well. Well, he's healthy right now. It won't be surprising if he continues to have a good camp and carves out a role among the receivers. Miles Battle is one who was a four-star signee and just hasn't, and again, nobody stood out last year. I think it seemed like Miles got on the field a little bit against Missouri, didn't play extremely well. I mean, and didn't get opportunities after that, didn't see him as much. This is a guy that was, again, projections don't always equate to production, but he's got some ability. And, they're just guys that you're not thinking of. I think when we talk about Ole Miss receivers, you immediately gravitate to the class they signed last year, which was good. When you look at Mingo and Dennis Jackson, Jaden Jackson out of Arkansas, Jordan Jernigan, I mean, they signed a nice group of receivers last year. But when you throw in to the mix guys like Battle and Gregory, I mean, there's a group there, and someone's going to emerge beyond Mingo. I think Mingo is the obvious choice to become a second receiver, but there will be a third receiver. There will be guys that make plays among that group.
And for our listeners, Miles Battle is from Houston, Texas. Good size, 6'3", 200+. And he's now a redshirt sophomore. So he's been there a while, had the ability to, grow up, be in the weight room, and so on. And we know that Kiffin and Levy, as Parrish is talking about, they are going to develop the the passing game at Ole Miss. Last year, Rich Rod, for a variety of reasons, shifted quickly to heavy run with Plumlee and Ely and those dudes. Parrish Alford on the D-Journal. Parrish Alford on the Parish Brewing guest line. All right, Parrish, I know you got to go, man. Season tickets, I saw your write-up or your clip on Facebook. Everybody that renewed by June 15th, and then Loyalty Foundation points will be the kicker there. And I think they're looking at like 16,000, something like that. Is that right, at 25%?
Well, I think they're going to end up with a few more than that. The
Okay.
executive order said 25% of bowl seating. So they're treating bowl seating and indoor seating, the premium seating, differently.
Ooh, I like that.
So, so they'll, they'll get a few more than that number, but the straight 25% of 64,038, which is the capacity, was like 16,009, something like that. So
Okay, cool. Hey, Parrish, appreciate it, buddy. Take care.
thanks a lot. Y'all have a good day.
Parrish Alford on the Parish Brewing guest line. Parrish does not own Parish Brewing, but he is from the state of Louisiana, and so is Parish Brewing. So just wanted to let you know that. Cane Break is their wheat ale. It is absolutely delicious. And then they've got Ghost in the Machine, which is their double IPA, which people rave about. We highly recommend all of their brews, but the Parish Brewing Cane Break wheat ale is absolutely delicious. So Blake, he feels like Mingo will emerge as number 2, but Miles Battle out of Houston, Texas, that was highly regarded.
Yeah.
He redshirted. He played sparingly last year, but he's got the body, the build, and the talent, and it'll be interesting to see if it's Miles or if it's Mingo that kind of emerge as the other go-to along with Elijah Moore. But this kid has the tools and the talent to have some fun with this Kiffin and Levy offense, and you know that they're not going to run it 62% of the time.
No, there will be it'll be interesting to see how this season plays out, but I think for the first time in the history of Mississippi, the two SEC schools in State and Ole Miss might not have a single game where they run the ball more than they throw the ball all year. In all 20 games, we may not have a single game where you hand it off or call a QB run more than you throw the ball.
Well, and you heard, all right, switching gears, you heard Mike Leach talking about Colin Hill and his hands. Okay, I mean, this is something that Joe Moorhead did not take advantage of. Whenever you hear Mike Leach say, hey, because, he's been around some dudes. All they do is throw up crazy numbers in the passing game. You can tell he's dropping hints for you.
Yep.
He believes that Kylan Hill is really good at catching the ball. You can tell he's almost like, I'm not sure why he wasn't, but he's not going to go there. And I expect Kylan Hill to to throw up some big numbers as far as receptions on the offensive side of the ball for Leach. And then for MSU, the buzz around none other than Austin Williams. Leach dropping some hints on that too. And his hands and his route running tells me all I need to know. The Out of Bounds Show is driven by your next John Deere tractor at Mississippi Ag.